Are you tired of making rookie mistakes with your camera that hold you back from your full creative potential? Well, today's your lucky day because we're going to be going over the top 10 mistakes to avoid as a beginner filmmaker. So let's get ready to level up your game and avoid pitfalls that's going to hold you back from cinematic greatness. Let's get into it. Hey, I'm Josiah, a cinematographer here to help beginner creators like yourself. So one of the mistakes you can avoid is understanding what frame rate to shoot at. And actually, I do have a video for you guys that goes over all the different frame rates and when to shoot and how to shoot them for you guys to check out. But let's get back to the first mistake. To sum it all up, you may be confused whether to shoot at 24, 30, 60, or 124 frames per second. Well, in my opinion, just to make things easier for you and to also challenge yourself, is to shoot at 24 frames per second. And you may ask yourself, why 24 frames per second? Well, a lot of filmmakers shoot at a minimum of 24 FPS. And why that is because with 24 frames per second, you can get a motion blur like this in my hand that is most natural to the human eye. And now mistake number 2 is shooting at too high of an ISO. When you're in a dark setting and you have to bump up your ISO on your camera, you're going to create a lot of noise in your footage. And that's something you really don't want if you're not shooting for that. You might have thought to yourself, why does my footage just doesn't look as clear as someone else with the same camera and the same lens? Well, that's because your ISO may be too high. They're probably shooting at their base or dual native ISO that's on their camera. Shooting at your camera's base or dual native ISO will give your footage a very crisp look. And now for mistake number 3, and that is going to be shooting with your auto setting. You want to stay away from that. Shooting in auto is a pretty bad mistake because you're putting all your trust in the computer within your camera to make that creative choice on what you want. And it's also making you a worse filmmaker because you're not allowing yourself to trust and know how to use your camera. And for mistake number 4, it's going to be overexposing and underexposing your footage. You need to know the differences and what to stay away from. Doing the mistake of overexposing or underexposing, you lose the highlights and the shadows within your footage and you can't really fix that in post. That's just something you want to stay away from because I've done it before. When you go to edit it and because you overexpose or underexpose, your footage is just going to look all messed up. You want your histogram right in the middle. That's going to help you get that clean and crisp footage. And for mistake number 5, if you're not coloring your footage, you're missing out on a world of creativity. Coloring your footage is a great way to get your point across throughout the video. It's the same thing for your food. Don't be afraid to add some of that seasoning to your chicken, alright? It's the same thing for color grading. If you don't add any seasoning to your color grading, then it's going to be flat and washed out. And I mean, unless you're going for that, then cool. But if you look back at your footage and you're confused, why does my footage look so flat? Well, it's because you didn't color grade it. So learn to color grade and practice at it every time you can. I know as a beginner creator or filmmaker, you want to always buy new cameras and new lenses, but please do not skip out on lighting. If you can't afford new lights, then go ahead and use natural lighting. Okay, lighting is always going to be better than none. Now this mistake a lot of people don't think about, and that's your audio. You really want to get your audio nailed down. Now I do have a tip for you guys if you're using Sony cameras. In your audio settings, you want to put it down to -12 decibels. For me, shooting at a -12 decibel when I'm just using the built-in mic at my camera allows me to not peak in my audio, but I still have enough range to then tweak it up in post when I need to. So if you do want to step up your audio, look into a shotgun mic. But I will have some shotgun mics for you guys to check out, and they're not only affordable, but they're also very reliable. I'll have them linked down in the description below for you guys to go ahead and look into if you want to upgrade your audio game. Mistake number 8, and what I tend to see in a lot of beginner creators, is shaky footage. Now, how can you get rid of that shaky footage? Well, if you do have the budget for it and you're looking to get smooth and stable footage, I would have to recommend getting a gimbal. Now, gimbals, they can range in pricing. I've used all types of gimbals, varied in price, and I'll also have them linked down for you guys to check out. But if the gimbal is not the best option for you, then I'm gonna have to say is build out your camera rig. So if you have a camera and you don't have a cage on that camera already, then you need to get a cage because it's gonna protect your camera. But when you put on a cage, you can then add on attachments. With those attachments, you can put on a top handle, side handle, maybe a battery pack. Now, it may add more weight to it, but that's what you want. The more weight you put on your camera, the more stable footage you're going to get. And here's a little pro tip for you guys if you don't have the budget for a gimbal or building out your camera rig, and that's to use your camera strap. With your camera extended out and there's no slack in that strap that you have around your neck, you're going to get some pretty stable footage. Mistake number 9 is going to be having a bad music selection. What you want to do is first choose your song and then edit to it. Don't go shooting your project and then go in post and try looking for a good song, okay? It's not going to work out. You want to always edit to the music first. So when you finish up writing your project, you get your shots and scenes, everything in play. You want to go then pick out the audio. From there, that's how you know what shots you're going to get. And mistake number 10 to avoid is not focusing on your story. It doesn't matter how great your shots are and how many B-roll shots that you put into your film. If your film doesn't have a great storyline, it's just not going to get through to the viewer. You don't want to just grab your camera and be like, okay, I'm going to shoot today and it's going to be this long and it's going to be this great and I'm going to get this many views on it. Don't expect all that if you're not going to be putting in the work beforehand. Plan out your shots, plan out the color palette, everything that's going to go into this video to make it come to life. And if you guys made it this far into the video, thanks for tuning in and learning how to avoid these pitfalls as a beginner filmmaker. If you found these tips helpful and you want to see more content like this that's going to elevate your filmmaking skills, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel will allow more growth to our community so we can reach out to more creatives and filmmakers like you. So thank you guys again for sticking around. I'll see you in the next video and remember to keep creating.